Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, featuring today a Monday Novice fight. Yes, indeed, we shall be seeing two novices clash. I shall be commenting, pointing out the flaws, the right things, and of course, shouting at the German player for not playing properly. Das ist verboten. Anyways, we shall be seeing Oray fighting for the Panzer Elite. Fighting for the, I don't know, let's just casually say the 9th SS Panzer Division, Hohenstaufen, or is it Fronsberg? I keep messing those two up. Opposing him shall be Zvmzvm, fighting for the Commonwealth, fighting for the, let's just say 1st Canadian Infantry Division. Truck packing up, lieutenant on the way, and note he's in fact starting out, packing up right after he got the lieutenant, which of course is not a bad idea. Of course, truck ready. In that sense, all nice and dandy. Going, of course, to move here. He's, of course, then going to get some infantry, and he's going to get it all upgraded. It is what some players do. I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And again, I mean, just, you're consistent. I mean, you don't go for this and then get lots of Brits while troops run, you're not getting any sort of upgrades or armor. Anyways, we're seeing two Kettenkrats out from Oray. He got first one Panzer in his squad, though. I'm a bit unsure why he got that. I mean, it would have been better to get the two Kettenkrats out first and then have, take points rather than, getting a Panzer squad and then, just using him to take points as well, because they are going to be slower than a Kettenkrat. So, I mean, in this sense, it doesn't quite, make sense in this way. Lieutenant's carrying points again. He's going for all the munitions points. He's, in fact, ignoring the fuel. A bit curiously enough, we are seeing the headquarters command track going up, but again, he does need this fuel point, and we are seeing the lieutenant having secured this bit slightly more risky point. Now moving towards where this is good. Also means, of course, that an infantry section can come out to join up with it, but he's clearly planning something with an awful lot of munitions. Points are being secured. Bit of movement towards the east as well. Probably might be trying here, but he might, of course, run into a reconnaissance section. And again, in that sense, having the Panzers over there would have been a better move, but for some reason, he decided his Panzer Grenadier were needed over here, far away from the valuable fuel. So that was a slight little misstep right there. Infantry section on the way, lots of munitions. Might soon even be able to get either the rifle grenades or the Bren gun for them. Panzer Grenadiers advancing, and we are seeing a comfortable company already up for Oray. Could be he's going straight for an armoured car rush. Could be he's going for infantry half-jacks. We will find out. There's definitely two options right there. Or the armoured cars against Brits would not be a bad idea if he can get it early. Then again, though, he is rather going after the fuel points as an afterthought. So it's a bit hard to determine. But Panzers might want to sort of focus up to be able to actually effectively fight the Brits. And also note right here early on, going for the machine gun emplacement, the Vickers. Not quite perfectly placed. I mean, an opponent could sneak up here and begin hitting the side. And again, this early on, it might be a better idea to actually either get an upgrade or some more infantry. So, not 100% happy with this one. It's not in a fully dominant position, and it can be somewhat easily outflanked if he's not careful. Lieutenant comes under fire from Panzer Grenadiers. 3rd squad ready. He's still not ready to get any use out of the Kampfgruppe Kompanie. Troops down here getting engaged by the Brits, and there we go. We are seeing the Bren machine guns on the way. The Bren being a Czechoslovakian gun, in fact, but the Brits decided they wanted to use that, and thus it was called the Bren after the Czechoslovakian town Briano. Again, I'm probably pronouncing this horribly. And Enfield, which was rather the main place for where the Brits actually got the rifles and all that. For example, the Lee Enfield rifle again. Enfield rather being again a place for rifles and such. Hold up in the Podlivsky building as Bren gunfire rakes in. They need to get out of there. Again, not entirely sure, my god, I mean, this position, I mean, the problem is essentially he's going to have to retreat eventually, and he's going to have to retreat right past these fellows. And the thing is, you have to remember with the Bren gun, they are quite effective against retreating troops, so that's something you have to be very, very careful about. It can easily end up very badly when you're retreating right in front of a Bren section. So again, this is not exactly a position I'm quite keen on. And this building again are not very good. No windows here. I mean, had the Brits been, for example, out here, or right here, next to the building, or perhaps even here, alright, but I mean, this, it does nothing. Nothing. So bad positioning right there by Oray and his Panzer Grenadiers. Although we are seeing the Brits suffering a bit. Of course, buildings do provide protection even against Bren guns and all that, but we are seeing more Panzers lining up, or more Brits lining up here now. And there we go, though more Panzers have managed to force away, but these chaps do need to leave the premises, and these chaps also need to leave the premises. And need to retreat, preferably before they get sniped. Oh, he runs in a fresh squad, and he's yet to get those out of there as well. He then proceeds to make the same mistake. Oray, you complete klutz. Domkopf. But I mean, in that sense, yes, he is making the same mistakes, the same little mistakes. I mean, and let's just briefly pause again. It's not a bad idea to garrison buildings, but again, you have to understand, why do I want to garrison it, and does it actually serve a purpose? In this case, it serves absolutely no bloody purpose. I mean, yes, you get some reconnaissance, but rather he should have been able to there to support, and he should have been running into there when it was surrounded by Brits in the first place. I mean, those are some pretty grim mistakes. We are seeing a mortar half-track out for Oray, though. Interesting, and let's get back to the fight. Brits are advancing. We are seeing 3 infantry sections. Lots of fuel. Might be an idea to go for the supply truck now. You know, get some Stuarts out sooner or faster. Mortar half-track moving up. There we go. Panzers hold up in the building. Again, though, not a good position. They can't fire back. So, I mean, it's basically just a waste to a certain extent. Nothing is really gained from this exchange except for the opponent. Mortar half-track is joining in. So, a bit there. I'll give Oray that. But again, I think we got more out of them if they've been placed elsewhere. Mortar rounds 4. There we go. 1 dead. And interesting enough, Zvmzvm is holding up. And he's getting another Bren gun upgrade. Rifle grenades, I think, would have been nice at least for 1. They can deal quite nicely with garrison troops. And they can also deal nicely, alright, with blobbed up troops. There we go. Another retreating squad. The rest are hanging up there. Mortar half-track needs to get away now, before it gets overrun. And we are seeing an infantry half-track out now as well. Quite interesting, not a bad idea, but has to be careful. And note, the infantry half-track is not an armoured car. It needs really to work with infantry, preferably with some in the half-track, otherwise it might easily get gunned down. In particular with 4 Bren guns. They are going to make mincemeat out of it. And there we go, already buttoned up, and note how much damage it's taking. Not really a good situation. There should have been someone in it, and there should have been someone with it. Mortar rounds do provide a bit of protection. Panzer grenadiers are moving in, taking up position behind light cover. This is good, opening up on the Brits. Upgrades are being equipped. Troops are getting suppressed, and that's something to note. And again, I'll just briefly pause. I mean, infantry half-tracks can suppress British troops, have soldier armor, so do Panzer grenades, but it means they're actually a bit faster to suppress. And I think we are going to be using incendiary grenades, going a bit, making much more difficult. Lots of Brits are burning the Tommy Sprint, or Brennen. Jawohl, mein Herr. And there we go. Ooh, Bren gun left behind. This is pretty early on. Ooh, Zvmzvm should have rather have retreated there, and definitely Oray should be securing himself a light machine gun right there. And which would actually sort of fit in with some of the early SS troops who couldn't. And back in the day, you know, in the early days of the 1940s and such, the SS, the Waffen-SS, actually had to make do with, you know, second-hand equipment, basically, you know, Czechoslovakian equipment, including this little fellow, although I believe it had actually, the Czechoslovakian version had a slightly different ammunition usage. But come on, Oray, grab it, that's a light machine gun. Nehmen Sie es. Muss es brauchen. Nach die Briten? I don't know. Again, my German grammar is quite frankly terrible. And I'm not going to learn grammar, you know, through the usual channels anyways. I'm just going to learn on my own, which is through lots and lots of mistakes. Sounding like a complete, well, idiot. But again, I'm sure some of the Germans are either crying or laughing or crying from laughter, so I'm sure it's all good. Counter-reclaim station going up, not a bad idea, but again, he should be, you know, taking upwards, and there we go, though. Much earlier, though, would have been preferable. At least he's getting the field support truck. He's got 3 infantry sections. And he's getting another Bren section. Again, some rifle grenades would be useful. Mortar rounds now bombarding here. Not a bad idea. Although, perhaps a Panzerschreck and then lining up here on the flank could also do the trick. In the meanwhile, Oray and the 9th SS have managed to secure map dominance. Half-track has been repaired. Das ist gut. Das ist sehr gut. And Heinz inspecting this Bren gun, reminding him of his days in Das Reich, fighting somewhere in the Baltics, or the Balkans. But we are seeing a nice push. I mean, here, Zvmzvm is doing the right thing. He's not pushing up here right into the strong point. He's trying to attack up the flank, you know, trying to draw him up. There's just a slight problem. His base is completely undefended. And if, say, Oray had gotten a lot of Panzerschrecks or something like that, this could mean this was pretty much going to go tits up. But so far, it looks like Oray is playing a bit passively, but we are now seeing the Brits pushing up here. Question is, how will Oray respond, and will he get some Panzergunners inside that infantry half-track? Come on, Oray. There we go. Getting the LMG inside the half-track with the MG as well. That's going to be lots of machine guns in it. Now react, get the half-track, get the Panzergunners over towards here. Counter-attack. Now, schnell, los geht's. Come on, Oray. Again, he's taking territory from you. He's going to be spread out. This is going to be a nice position to attack, despite, you know, all the Bren guns. Come on. Schnell. Oh, he's actually popping them out again. What is he doing? Is he having a vacation or something? No, I think he's going for the increased squad size upgrade. Not what I'd recommend in this case. We're also seeing Panzerx. Now he's actually moving in towards the base. I think, or just being aggressive. Of course, he might not be aware of this one. And there we go. Nice flanking maneuver by Zvmzvm. And of course, question is, how will Oray react to this? Of course, he might be trying to clear that out, but good. Panzergunners here, hold up in the building. Not good, not good. Too many Brits need to get away. Too much fire. And where are the rest? Mortar half-tracks firing in, though. Good. Half-track. Panzergunners. Some need to get into the half-track again. And 10-minute break, I mean, or sort of 10 minutes section, I mean, so far Oray has managed all right, but again, he's suddenly got way too passive, and as the Panzer League, you don't want to get passive, you want to keep pushing, you want to be aggressive. Definitely a mistake right there. Now, Zvmzvm is actually taking quite good advantage of being aggressive, and he's actually trying, you know, to sort of flank by a rather large margin, which is quite good, which has caught all these troops here, and if they have to retreat, they will have to retreat right past all of these Bren guns, which is going to be good as well for Zvmzvm. But of course, now question is, how will Oray react to this? He's of course also trying to knock this out, which is good. But I mean, again, get some troops into half-track. There are several reasons why you use it like that. For example, one, again, the half-track will be absorbing all the damage, meaning the Panzergunners won't be taking any damage, largely. What does that mean? You won't be losing Panzergunners, at least not much, which means you don't lose manpower on that. It also means you won't be handing over veterancy to your opponent. That's also a reason you do it. I mean, there's plenty of reasons to do it. So again, why some players just use it like an armored car is completely beyond me. But again, back to the fight. Oray's perspective now. Half-track getting buttoned down. So a bit of suppressive volleys would be good. Panzerx flying. Ooh, Lieutenant exposed. Focus him down. And the Lieutenant is dead. But again, note the Bren guns are simply tearing through the mortar half-track. Again, mistake right there by Oray. He should have been reacting faster, although... And we are seeing the reconnaissance following up. That's good using that. He still suffered some losses, but overall I think he did the most to the Panzer League player. And oh yeah, he actually lost an infantry half-track earlier on. What a klutz. But there we go. Vehicles machine gun replacement down. It got flanked like predicted. Panzergunners need to retreat. Again, these Bren guns are not to be messed with. Kenkrad also needs to get away. And of course the fact that his cloak means he's gone Luftwaffe. In fact, he's getting Luftwaffe troops. Incendiary grenades turns, torches a few Tommies. But come on. Rückzug. Stellungswechseln. Oh, come on. Oh, careful, careful. And there we go. Now he's deciding on the Wirbelwind. Increase squad size forces. This one looks to have gains of veterancy. Offensive veterancy would be good. The offensive. And he's got tons of munitions as well. He could easily upgrade these chaps with other Panzergrenadiers and more Gewehr 43s. Or perhaps, you know, go for a Panzer command. Troops getting sniped. Again, offensive veterancy, it matters. Also, you can, for example, try to slow them down. Yes, I know it's a slightly dirty trick, but again, everything counts. This is war. That's some game played on a computer. But again, I mean, it could be used, but still, you know, use some of that munitions. Wirbelwind against a blobber, and tragically, Zvmzvm is a bit of a blob again. He should try to avoid that, and yeah, he's already seen that one fail, so I'm not sure why he goes for that again in the same position. But I mean, the Wirbelwind is not really good versus masked horde. It's more, you know, something to use to lock down one particular infantry squad that's causing problems. Still moving in there, and now they are spread out. So in fact, the Wirbelwind, with its flak feeling, can tear through these British quite nicely. And the Stuart arrives. Need to spread out these troops. They are way too clumped up. Kansas round. And also that's the reason why, as the Panzer Leader, generally any of our Axis player, don't want to be clumped up versus a British player. One Stuart light tank, one counter round can absolutely mess things up for you. And as you might have casually noted, that just happened. And he's only got Panzer X to try and stop it, which is not necessarily the best idea. So again, a vital to note. Now, of course, is how will Oray react to this? Zvmzvm moving in, pushing on, trying to punish the British. 3 kills. Not bad, I suppose. Tank busters again. Need to spread them out again. Cancer shot, splat. No more tank busters. Very vital to remember. And the Bren guns following it, and there we go, buttoning it up, opening up for the Stuart to move in. Very reckless. It is more of a support tank, the Zvmzvm. Not a tank you rush in on its own. And there we go, the punishment has arrived. The Stuart is there to show that Zvmzvm who's boss. Panzer guns are moving in. Again, they'll have to be careful. And what is this? Another Bren gun left behind. My goodness, do these chaps think they're candies? Well, that is Tommy's own loss. Staghound needs to get away, and again, someone needs to pick up that Bren gun as well. Again, careful out in the open, in particular with Bren guns and all that. They will be taking a lot of damage. Thing blows up. Again, note the Panzer guns are taking heavy losses. Veterans, you're ready up for that, but get them out of there! Get them out of there! Down to 1 man again. The Bren guns are a terrible weapon. Really senseless right there by Oray, I must admit. And the Zvmzvm also needs to get away, even with offensive veterancy. Perhaps acting up a bit, might be the heat, might not. Poo. There we go. I apologize for any sort of loss of bit. I mean, you didn't lose a lot, just basically these Panzers finally picking up that second Bren gun. But I mean, it's just, you know, sometimes what happens is essentially Fraps needs to record it down to the hard drive, and sometimes there's a bit of a mismatch between how fast Fraps wants to do it and how the hard drive wants to do it. That's sort of the best description I have. It's something that apparently happens with all the recording programs of this sort. Trick is just sort of to hope for it to pass by. Yeah, then it begins again. Let's hope it can stay a bit more stable. Lots of Panzer X. I mean, he is, you know, worried about British armor. He's worried about getting hammered, clobbered, and we are seeing an armored command trucks. I mean, he does have something to worry about in that extent. Although, I mean, considering that Zvmzvm is going straight for the Commonwealth, he might be going for the Firefly, which of course rather indicates that Zvmzvm is worried about his opponent getting armor, more specifically probably Pan. And having suffered from a slight crash, we are back in action again. Fraps being a bit silly today, probably not liking the heat any more than I do, who knows. And right, back into the action. My apologies, had to sort of try and give the computer a break, see if that helped a bit. So back into the action, and here we are seeing Oray making another mistake. What is he doing again? He's clumping up and attacking across an open road right into a Stuart tank he knows has canister rounds. Sappers also get a few kills, but again, heavy losses. I mean, that was just 7 Panzer Grenadiers out the window. I mean, ow, Dummkopf. Not a good thing. Again, I mean, as a rule of thumb, you know, don't attack across open ground against tanks. In particular, not when closed up against a unit that can fire canister rounds. I mean, that was pretty much begging to have your Panzer gunners turn into, you know, sauerkraut mit Würstchen. So not really a good thing there, but of course, nicely done by Zvmzvm, trying to take advantage of this, you know, rather lovely handing over the infantry into your grasp. But we are now seeing another push. Again, he's clumping out a bit. We don't quite like that. I mean, yes, some say, oh, but the officers makes you do that. No, he doesn't. I mean, you can still spread them out a bit. You just have to have him reasonably close, but you can still have a nice frontage without completely blobbing them up. And slight bug there. Someone seems to be stepping on the mine. Stuffy. Anyways, Stuart moving in there. Wirbelwind, Panzer Rex, infantry half track. Not a lot of units again. He has been suffering a bit, although again, he does have 4 Panzer Rex and he does have 2 Bren machine guns on them as well, which should help her get against British infantry. Bit of incendiary grenades. Oh, Wirbelwind, and again another canister round. Zvmzvm is really getting off a good amount of canister rounds. These Panzer gunners need to retreat. Careful, and get those other chaps up who are more fully. And again, get someone in the half track. Get someone in there. They receive protection. I repeat, protection. Entdeckung. And again, though, Oray seems to be completely neglecting it. That is not good at all. Again, his troops will be taking casualties, although now the half track post is gone. He's really keen on getting that thing. And there we go. Bren Gun is firing away a bit. Getting a few British as well. Although the Wirbelwind might be joining that. In fact, 16 killed. Not a bad thing. Incendiary grenades on the Brits. Panzers need to be a bit careful. Wirbelwind rolling in. Panzers need to retreat. A gun. Veterancy. Offensive would be nice, I think. Come on. Offensive would, of course, also help the Panzer be more accurate. But there we go. Now, retreat. Retreat, Oray. Retreat, you! Oh, you just lost a Bren and a Panzer, which the enemy could be seizing. Oray, again, retreat in time. Unit preservation. It's a very valuable thing. You're just handing over veterans to that unit, although you did finally get the Stuart still. Not really good losses, and again, losing a Bren gun is not really what I'd call a good thing either. Because again, that could have been useful against the British infantry. Der Tommies. Welch du musste zerstören. But there we go, Firefly out. Again, I do think this is a slight mistake here. Again, there's no real armor, and again, he really ought to be sort of thinking, my opponent has a lot of infantry, he has increased squad sizes. I probably should not be expecting an awful lot. Oh, right, this I really need to touch upon. Oray has a lot of munitions. Oray suffering heavy losses. What should Oray do? He should not be training tank busters, which are heavy on manpower, when he has the ability to just train regular Panzer gunners and then equip them with the Panzerschreck. Again, very vital. Munitions should always be spent before manpower. You should not do it the other way around. Manpower is the most precious resource in the game. Munitions and fuel, not quite as much. Fuel is secondary, munitions tertiary, which again means you don't do this when you can just train a Panzer gunner squad there and then equip it with a Panzerschreck. Do not do that. That is bad. That is a waste of manpower. And again, manpower is the last thing you want to waste. But again, it seems Oray is rather good at that. Fresh casualty station up. Not bad there. Stuart moving in. I mean, there's not an awful lot. I mean, yes, he probably wants to stop that Firefly, I suppose. I mean, Wirbelwind from a distance, he could do it. But again, there's also a lot of Panzerschrecks, and he doesn't quite have the ability to stop that. Luftwaffe troops could be called in to do some expert repairs. Additional tank busters moving in. Firefly needs to be very careful. Easy there, George. You don't want to end up just like Nathan. And there we go. Lots of Panzerschrecks. Bren gun fire. Sherman holds so far, surviving mostly. Also note Panzerschreck. Panzerfleet Panzerschrecks are slightly weaker than Wehrmacht Panzerschrecks. And there we go, moving in. The hunt is on for the Firefly. Main gun destroyed. Oh, but it survives. The Panzer gunners continue with tank busters, Bren guns, and all the other stuff they can hunt up. I mean, it's nice to see a Cromwell command tank, but it would have been better with a Cromwell because, again, the Cromwell would also have seen an increased rate of fire, which would have been great against the infantry. The Firefly doesn't really do much against them. Mine goes off there. Nice to see a mine up for the Brits. Good move. Certainly caused Oray right there a bit of a headache, and isn't he using those Kettenkreuz to do a bit more harassment, I think. Now we go rushing up to the base, getting suppressed a bit. Although trying to get those tracks, but he's continuing and running straight into a British horde. Oray, careful, retreat. Rückzug. Oh dear. Again, not really a good combat situation. He's absolutely eager of getting him. Panzer's hiding in there in the other part of the Pidlevsky building. And again, lots of heavy firepower. These Panzers need to get away. Rückzug, Männer. And just retreat, just retreat. We are seeing some Bren gun fire from inside the building. Incendiary grenades forcing the Brits away a bit. Wirbelwind, but it's not fully repaired. Where was the Luftwaffe troops to repair it? No, no, get them out of there. They're too low health. And again, Bren guns are bad. Just note how quick. Again, terrible unit preservation. Do not rush troops into combat that are low health or anything like that, or in a bad state of repair. That was a terrible engagement because the Panzer gunners there were in poor condition. They were going in against the worst kind of troops for that. Troops with automatic weapons. I mean, basically Bren guns, spear yards, LMGs, MP40s, any sort of submachine gun, basically assault rifle. You don't want to rush in with low health troops against that. Generally, you don't even want in overall, but I mean, very bad there. In particular, Bren guns, they will tear through. And he just lost his second Bren gun, which could have been helpful in the longer run. In particular, with a bit of offensive veterancy to make it more accurate. But again, Oray is not good on the unit preservation. He's losing a ton of Panzer Grenadiers, and his solution is just more Panzer Grenadiers. I mean, clearly, we are not dealing with a Manstein, Rommel, model, or anything like that. Probably more Sepp Dietrich. Anyways, we are seeing troops pushing up here on the west. Good, and not just laying back too much. Another casualty station. I mean, he's engaged. That's good. Although, again, some defenses here would also be nice. Repairing the Firefly line again. Both sides are really expecting armor, but both sides don't have a lot of armor. I mean, Oray's had the Wirbelwind, and that was lost. And the other chap has only Fireflies. I mean, I really, again... And that's sort of the fun thing that can happen with, you know, two players of that sort. Is, I mean, they're fighting the army. They're sort of, you know, imagining their opponent does everything right, and of course assumes there is only one way to play the game. That is, you know, get armor right away. But again, none of them are really getting any armor that is a threat to the other's infantry. That was what the Wirbelwind there, and now we see Oray going even further. He's getting a flak. I mean, 88mm flak. But again, not a lot of armor. And the Panzer can clearly stop this. His concern is the infantry, so is Zvmzvm's concern. That is the infantry. But in this case, I mean, he does have the slight advantage in more Bren guns. But again, the other fellow is just completely unprepared. He's got lots of Panzerschrecks, but nothing to stop infantry. Really, I mean, the increased squad sizes help with, of course, increased squad sizes, but nothing else. And of course, note the... You know, commando doctrine. He's actually getting a commando glider to use a heavy machine gun, which is not a bad thing against blobs. So I mean, interesting move. Not very often you see it. Can't blame him. And certainly again, he's taking the infantry a bit more seriously than, you know, Oray, because again, Oray seems to be utterly stuck in some sort of armor nightmare where he's constantly worrying about getting rushed by panzers. In this case, Cromwell's, which again is not really helping him. Yes, there's the Firefly, but again, not a huge threat to his infantry. I mean, he'd be better served off getting Fallschirmjäger. You know, the Premier Wehrmacht infantry, at least Panzer Elite infantry, but again, he doesn't seem quite concerned with that. SS Panzer Divisions, by the way, would have had their own heavy flak units, which is, again, is a fun thing. Not all divisions would have had that, and again, would have had to rely on the Luftwaffe for such support. We are seeing Luftwaffe troops, and there we go, another charge, and again, open ground for both sides. No real cover, although in this case, the Brits still have a bit. But again, I mean, note, no use of cover from either side, and again, I mean, he had the Luftwaffe squad laying down sandbags here a bit. I mean, this could actually have been to his advantage. Lots of incendiary grenades. We are seeing butterfly bombs as well. Another command level, and note, he gains command points as he levels up. Fun fact, but losses for the Panzers again. You know, standing about out in the open is not the way to win. Another Bren gun, by the way, dropped, so, you know, pick that up when you can, but again, you know, it matters where you engage the opponent. Out in the open is a bad place, and particularly against the Brits with Brens. I mean, sandbags would be a nice thing to get. We are seeing further Panzers fighting here. And there we go, Vickers machine gun is up. Commandos joining in the fun. Quickly suppressing the crowd. The Bosch, the Hun, showing Jerry, who's the boss right around here with some proper commando tactics. And these Panzers also need to consider getting out of there, just getting pelted with Piat rounds. And of course, had he had access to rifle grenades, those Panzers would have been even larger trouble. But again, I mean, Oray is, you know, constantly making no mistake. Although finally we are seeing a flak filling up. I mean, not the most ideal thing. Again, I would have recommended Fallschirmjäger. A few squads with FG-42s, but still could be worse. I mean, that's definitely going to stop the Brits a bit. Going to make them regret being British. So Flugzeug Abwehrkanone Stellung 38 sind klar. And again, he's using the butterfly bombs in the wrong way. He's thinking they're bombs, but here they're more like mines. And again, dropping them right there will just result in them getting knocked out. You want to lay them out before the enemy arrives. Like a minefield, like this. With this, not on the enemy, because you'll just blow them to bits. So in this case, Oray, needs to understand more how butterfly bombs work. I mean, yes, it is a bit deceptive, calling them bombs rather than mine, but there you go. But at least, hopefully, if he ever watches this, he'll know by now, hopefully. Of course, we can never know. And there we go, heading up butterfly bombs. We are seeing medics going in, and now calling in more butterfly bombs. He must have a ton of munitions. Again, some which would have been better saved for Fallschirmjägers and FD-42s. More Panzerguns rolling out. No Gewehr 43s. Just more Panzerschrecks. Luftwaffe troops with a Bren gun securing points as well. And Heinz there sort of wondering, what is this? This is not an MD-42? And it says fuck Hitler on it. But I like him. Anyways, just a bit of fun. Oh, more butterfly bombs. They can do alright. In this case, they do. And there we go. He's rushing in for the base, which again, Zvmzvm is making the slight mistake. And let's just briefly pause. And now, there's a sort of thing most players do. And there's a slight thing to the headquarters command truck. You can actually shoot bullets through it. It's a sort of thing. Otherwise, it would be rather much more unwieldy. But for example, a lot of players, what they do is they place a Vickers machine gun emplacement on the other side. So if anyone tries to rush it with infantry, they get suppressed. I know it's pretty unrealistic, but again, it's sort of one of those little things they had to do to make it work. And again, it's something more high-ranking players do, because again, otherwise you get something like this, where Panzerschreck, Hans, Fritz, Paul, and all the other ones charge in with Panzerschrecks and begin blowing everything up, and there's nothing you can do about it. So just a little suggestion there, just a little tip for you British players out there. But let's return to the fight. Commonwealth command track is gone. We are seeing a buffers up there, nice, and we are seeing commando artillery getting called in. And we are seeing nice retreat right there. At least he's, somewhat concerned about his own infantry, not a complete Soviet or SS. But again, usage of sandbags or barbed wire right here could make this a much stronger position. Such things matter. And again, careful, careful. Vorsicht, Vorsicht. Dummkopf. No, he managed to run around it. And then right in front of it.
We have a victory point
no.
Under attack.
Blimey.
NCOs reporting they have destroyed a German tower.
And again, Panzer is here losing and dropping up Panzerschreck again. He needs to be more careful with his infantry. Again, unit preservation is key. In particular when you're the Panzer Elite. And then again, there's something you have to be careful with. This again sort of rather hints at, he doesn't quite care about preserving units. Because again, he just wants raw numbers. He'll probably be very happy with the Soviets. Yes. But again, he has to be careful. Butterfly bombs here can help a bit. Offensive veterancy, no, could work. But there we go, moving in. Flak feeling needs to get on it. Fire frei, and there we go. Opening up, dropping Brits, sort of. Flak taking heavy damage, another troop down. And there we go, going down to the Piats. Flak feeling managed to score a few kills.
Enemy are moving on one of our victory points.
And there we go, this point is down. Decoy smoke, but needs to move on. 30 caliber up then. Ooh, moving in some commanders to ambush the troops right there. Careful, Oray. Vorsicht. Does he even pay attention? There we go, intended grenade, but he needs to get away out of the range of the Sten guns. And no, he doesn't even move out of the pant. Again. He needs to be more aware of the situation and what sort of things he needs to retreat from. Again, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. That sort of stuff. And these troops definitely need to have been in a building or cover much earlier, but now it's a bit too late and the commandos are just moving in, clearing out them before they even get into the building. Again, things like that matter. Let's go have a look at Oray. Laying down a demo charge right in front of here, but again, the commandos themselves are just clearing them out. And that's going to mean another Bren gun lost, which again could have been nice for him. Panzer lost to the demo charge. The 9th SS are definitely not holding out against the Canadian troops. Holding on for, Canada. Maple syrup. Moose. Beavers, I'm not sure. We are seeing troops pushing up there. Panzer is under heavy fire. Casual killing station almost done fully. And we do see access to Fallschirmjägers, we don't see it. And again, let's not touch upon the butterfly bombs again. He's not going to suddenly learn them like this. But again, heavy losses. He's lost an awful lot. Again, some Fallschirmjägers would be nice, or another building like, say, a Panzerbrücke Command or a Panzerjäger Command. Get either some Panzergunners with assault rifles or a Panzer IV or a Hotchkiss. Something a bit better than this. Now he's laying down another flak, but it's even more exposed. I mean, be careful with this. Again, you know, 4-6. Think about where you placed them, how the enemy can attack them, how you can defend it. And that's not quite happening here. Sappers are getting shredded a bit. But again, this is quite exposed. And the Lieutenant Roberts, has equipped himself with a Panzerjäger. And he even managed to wreck this. He didn't even cancel it. You know, again, when you're under fire when building something, cancel it. I mean, you could have lost the Luftwaffe troops as well. But again, I mean, he's been suffering quite heavily, and those are resources he will not be seeing returning. Again, you know, think ahead. What's going on? Should I continue building? Should I not? In this case, he clearly seems to think he should be, when he shouldn't be. Flak feeling, though, continues to cause troubles. Veterancy for it, I think, or some other units. Decoy smoke, I suspect. Panzergunners with veterancy, lots of offensive. Flak feeling with 7 kills. I mean, it's doing alright against the Brits. Although it's taking some damage, you need some Luftwaffe troops to repair it at the very least. And the Lieutenant also needs to consider retreating. Another Wirbelwind. Again, Fallschirmjägers would do much better, I think, in this case. Particularly since they can also now use cover quite easily, since they can ambush in it. Which means, of course, they get a great damage bonus. But again, that doesn't rather seem to be crossing the mind of Oray, most tragically. Wirbelwind moving in to try and clear out that 30 caliber Vickers. I mean, that Vickers not. Oh, never mind. Panzergunners forced away, at least a bit better preservation there. Artillery must potentially getting called in, and he retreats. Doesn't want to risk it. Repairing the flak feeling, that is good. Guter Job, Männer. Gute Arbeit. And the meanwhile, the Stalwart Tommies are moving about, ready to deliver another blow to Hans. To the Hun. More Luftwaffe troops. I think that's a bit excessive. He already has 1 squad. Again, I think he really needs some Fallschirmjägers. And again, he needs to stop building flaks. Again, he's really concerned with armor. And so is Zvmzvm, but at least he seems to be more realizing, again, it's all about the infantry. But again, it seems like Oray is not quite, you know, able to shift towards that. Again, he's sort of constantly imagining his opponent getting armor when he's not. And again, that's the sort of thing you have to be careful about. You have to react on what your opponent is actually doing. You must not imagine what you think he ought to be doing. You know, imagine what he is actually doing. What can he actually do with what he's doing? And it's that sort of thing you need to work you towards thinking about. I mean, it can be a bit tricky, but again, you need to sort of stop thinking about your opponent as a perfect, or at least your perfect opponent. Your mind, you know, always going for what the thing that's going to counter you. It's not necessarily that. But again, Oray just seems constantly occupied with armor and not with dealing with the infantry. Again, out in the open again, it's a bad thing. He doesn't use cover very well either. And he needs to retreat again. Retreat! Rückzug! Get out of there! Bit bloody late there, and again he needs some upgrades. He needs some more anti-infantry upgrades on his troops. He needs automatic weapons. He needs Fallschirmjägers with FG-42s, or he needs a Panzer IV or an armored car or some assault grenadiers. Something that can deal with this British infantry. But again, it's not happening. It's quite tragic, in fact. We are seeing additional, you know, Vickers up here, although both of them are in a pretty terrible condition, and this fellow's wishing he probably was somewhere else. And thinking apparently he needs to shave so he can keep on looking like that dashing British commando he is.
Attention, the enemy advances. We have itchy trigger fingers here.
And what's going on here? Numerous Luftwaffe squads. Panzergunners moving in. And again, no, he's not yet at least. Wirbelwind could be sent in. What is he going to do? But I mean, the British commanders clearly getting better at grasp on the map. Piat commanders now moving in. Piat sappers moving out. Another Vickers. At least a bit better placed this time around. I'll give him that. Again, cover, and Deckung men out, not out in the open versus all the Bren guns, although these chaps should have been retreated. Instead, it's not happening, and immediately he's losing several Panzer grenadiers. One squad is already down to 2 of them, already down to 2 men. Again, terrible unit preservation, terrible understanding of cover. Again, in particular versus light machine guns. You really need cover for that. I mean, this is rather, not really conducting a good assault at all. And definitely something Oray should consider improving to the next time. Because otherwise he's going to be stuck at around level 8, I think he was at. I mean, you need more than just raw numbers. You need tactics, you need cover, and you need proper unit composition. And you also need to be able to read your opponent properly. And currently Oray seems again constantly focused on the fact that, oh my god, he's getting tanks. I need Panzerabwehrkanone. I must have something to stop those Yankee Panzers or Tommy Panzers. Again, he's not quite in touch with reality, which again is tons of infantry. He's bleeding it out, which is quite nicely, which also means he can't get a lot of armor. But again, and in fact, all the Panzerschrecks are scaring off the opponent's armor. But again, he's just getting more and more AT weaponry, which again is not helping him. And I imagine this is sort of what's, keying him in. Because again, increased line of sight. And then recruiting the flak with his Luftwaffe troops. But, just for the fun of it. Odd. Very odd.
Battery ready for action. Standing by. Just stay in the work.
And my apologies for that awkward silence right there, but I had to go check it out. I mean, it seems suspicious, and of course, in those cases, I have to look. I mean, I don't, want to be, allowing anything wrong. But what happened was, what essentially was, Oray was repairing right there. He could see it from here. Zvmzvm could see right there that he was doing it. He called in decoy smoke, and here's the thing. When you call in those barrages, you actually get line of sight, and with that apparent, he could just notice the Flak 88 getting built. Then he called in artillery on it. So, I mean, just right there, again, I just wanted to be sure there was no doubt about it, nothing like that. So, yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty odd as well. So, again, there you go, and apologies to Zvmzvm, or Oray for that matter, again, in suspicion. But again, I have to check it out like that. I mean, it did seem a bit odd when, there wasn't any direct line of sight from here to there. So there you go. Again, my apologies. I should not be suspecting those that send in. But I do feel like I owe it to my viewers to at least, try and investigate those cases when I do notice it. But again, mortifying. Again, interesting to note, he's actually using his commanders for more than just assault troops. He's also using for them support and actually doing all right with it, which is actually quite fun to see. We are seeing grenades from incendiary grenades. Wirbelwind taking some nasty losses. Bofors opening up a bit. The Bofors, a Swedish anti-aircraft gun. The Swedish actually produced several weapons. They also produced a much larger anti-tank gun. They produced anti-tank gun, anti-aircraft guns, anti-tank guns. They even produced an anti-aircraft tank, the Landswerk 2, which was used by some of the minor Axis nations, including Finland, Romania, and Hungary, although they called it the Nimrod, which means Great Hunter. But there we go. Wirbelwind quickly recruited by Zvmzvm. In fact, he's just seizing all of Oray's positions, because again, Oray didn't quite provide enough protection. He simply gets swarmed. Troops are getting slaughtered. Again, not really good unit preservation from Oray, not really good unit composition. Again, a failure to understand what was going on with his opponent. And this looks like GG more or less. 10 kills, 10 Panzergunners dead, and there we go. Game over. GG to Zvmzvm, securing a victory for the 1st Infantry. And of course, my apologies for suspecting, but again, that looked pretty odd. So again, I checked it. hopefully he shall not be tarnished, and I would certainly hate to see it. But of course, what did we learn from this? Again, the major issue sort of was the disconnect that existed between the reality of the battlefield and Oray's sort of imagination. Because again, he was constantly expecting his opponent to rush him with armor. He got tons of Panzerix, lots of flaks, but there was barely any armor. I mean, there was a huge disconnect. The same happened with Zvmzvm, but he was either, wisening up to the fact that his opponent was going for lots of infantry, so he needed anti-infantry weapons and infantry. Brilliant! And that was rather the end. I mean, also, Oray's engagements were poor, lots of open cover ground attacks, again, lost tons of troops with that, rushing into troops equipped with Bren guns or any sort of automatic weapon like that, not good either. Dummkopf. I mean, that's rather there with Oray. I mean, lots of those mistakes as well. Poor unit preservation, not knowing when to fight and hold your ground. He lost several Bren guns, otherwise that could have been great for him. And again, no usage of the Fallschirmjäger against this was also been great, or a Panzer or something like that. So again, I mean, we'd rather see, the issues of a disconnect, poor engagements, poor unit preservation. I mean, he really looked strong at one stage, but then he completely threw it away. Whereas Zvmzvm actually reacted. He realized what needed to be done, and he did it. So there you go. GG. Really hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends, because again, we can always do with more subscribers, more people to spread the good word of the Propagandacast. So, cheers.